Hello, it's the Flowered Robin, and this is Bird Talk. So, I've been doing a series on the negative effects of being held captive. It comes from an excerpt out of my book, page 54 of the book Fortified City, which you can find right now on Amazon for $16.99 plus tax and shipping. In this book, I describe the 5 ways we are affected, which of course are mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and today I'll be talking about spiritually. So, in my book, I describe it as doesn't know or understand what God is saying, self-condemnation, regret, and remorse. Job being my example, there was a time when he was already a little perplexed as to why he was suffering, because he knew he had been doing everything he could possibly. It said he was an upright man. He was a just man. So God specifically allowed the devil to try him because he was so upright. So here he is. All these things, he has lost everything, his livestock, his family, everything. And so he's in this physical state with boils on his body and in all this pain and agony, and he's wondering why, what have I done? And it wasn't so much anger towards God as a questioning of himself. So sometimes we can get to that spiritual state of mind where we're like, okay, God, I'm doing everything I know to do. I'm trying my best to walk upright. Paying my tithes and offering. I'm helping everybody. I'm showing love to everybody. You go through the list in your head and you're trying to figure out, what am I missing? Because everything is going wrong and I don't understand. So it kind of messes with the mind, and then you get these friends of yours may come in where it might be this, and girl, it could be that, or man, it could be this or that or the other, and maybe if you had did this, these 3 friends that came to Job, Eliphaz and Bildad and Zophar. They came to him and began to blame him, even though they knew he was an upright man. They came up with all these reasons why he was being punished by God. So yeah, you start self-condemning yourself, and then here are other people helping with the process. And you begin to even may have some regret or remorse about some moves you made. Maybe if I had did this instead of that, or that instead of this, it wouldn't have ended up this way. So we first of all have to understand Isaiah 55:4. His thoughts are not our thoughts, and his ways are not our ways. So no matter how we think things should go, cookie cutter, it doesn't always end up that way. Sometimes we're doing everything we need to do and everything is going wrong. Sometimes that's a good sign that you're doing the right thing. But it doesn't feel good because it sometimes causes confusion if we allow that. We have to just serve this unction in our heart. We have to be sure. We have to, when God has told you to do something, there's that saying, you know that you know that you know. Well, when you know that you know that you know, but your mind is being tried, stick it out. Trust God in the process. I promise he'll give you signs along the way. Even when things aren't yet where the glory is. He will give you those confirming signs. I can use this as an example. About 10, 11, 12 years ago, God was closing doors for me at a church that I loved. Because I'm an evangelist, God uses me in a specific way, and he moves me. He doesn't do this with all evangelists, but he does it with me. So he moves me in certain seasons. I have been getting the signs, and I knew it was time. But then I started letting people get in my ear. And I even remember he was moving me out of one church home and going to move me to another. I didn't know where, but I was just being obedient to what he said. And I remember there was a lady, and she didn't mean any harm, but she said, don't listen to the devil. And so, those kinds of things get in your ear. It can get in your ear, and you can go home and question yourself, did I really hear God? But in your heart, it's just there. You know it. And so you just keep moving, but you're looking for something confirming, something to make you feel like, okay, it's not just me. I was sitting at the back of the church. I was on the intercessory board, and so we were sitting in the corner of the church before Sunday school, and when people would walk by, we would offer them prayer if they want to pray before they went to their Sunday school class. While we were sitting there praying in the corner, one of the intercessors, she's passed away now, but she put her hand on my left thigh and tapped it. And she said, you do what the Lord has told you to do. Don't you worry about what others say. She had no clue what was on my mind. She had no clue that God was closing the doors for me at that church. That was the confirming word I needed. And it settled my heart that I truly heard from the word from the Lord. And so just know, when you have that unction in your heart, it's from God, because it will not go away. It'll keep bothering you. So it's him. It'll stay there. Just ride it out. Keep trusting God, even if you don't know where you're going. Because I'll have to tell this little testimony. When I was in the process of leaving, I was sharing it with that pastor. And he, being a man of God, true man of God, he knew that it was time. And he gave me my well wishes. But he said, "Did you know where you're going?" And I said, "No, God told me that he would tell me once I leave." And we can read instances in the Bible where this has happened to prophets, So I didn't know where I was going. And for 1 year, I did ministry with one of my minister friends until God had sent the message of where he wanted me to be. It was probably almost 1 year to the date, or maybe a couple months later. But I remember there was a church that I thought I was supposed to join. And I waited to get God's confirmation. I let some time pass, and I came back to the church. And I had asked God for these certain signs. And those signs didn't happen. So I knew that that was not where he wanted me. And some time had passed. And I was driving down the street, and the church that I now belong to had just put this sign out. They were relocating to a different location. And there was this sign out of their first Sunday date. And it was like I just had this drawing to go there. And I went there, on that Sunday that they had said, they were going to be in this building. And when I walked in the door, I heard God said, "Here, this is where I want you to be." And it was a church that I had visited a couple of times in the past and at night service. Never thought in my mind that I would be a member, and I don't say that in a bad way. It's just I was just at a service at their church a couple of times. But I just want you in this segment, as I close this series, when God is telling you to do something and you feel it with all your heart, your mind, your soul, everything, no matter how things appear on the outside, no matter what things are said from the sidelines, if God has told you, stick it out until you land where you're supposed to be. And that's all I have to say for this series. I'm so thankful that you joined me for all 5 segments. If you have not, I pray that you'll go back and check some of the other ones out. And with that, I'll see you next time with some more good reads. And you know what? Although my book is a good read, the Bible is the best read. It's always good. Bye-bye.